Who is watching Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard defamation trial? Yesterday in the trial, Ron Chanel, the director at Berkeley Research Group, testified about the negative hashtags and tweets towards Amber Heard. So that makes me wonder, why don't I just try to do some simple text analysis on tweets that mentioned Johnny Depp and Amber Heard and see what the data shows? I plan to get 2 days of Twitter data mentioning Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, Camille Vasquez, and Shannon Curry. Show a live coding on how I actually clean and work with the data, apply a pre-trained Hugging Face sentiment model for sentiment analysis, and then finally show some Engram analysis as well as topic modeling. Okay, so let's get started. Let's first create a new content environment. We call it Twitter Analysis. I always create a new content environment for my new projects. And then we can content activate this environment and then install the packages we need. I'm content installing pandas, NumPy, PyTorch, scikit-learn, NLTK, hvplot, transformers, notebook, and pip. And then I'm going to pip install SNS scrape. I'm going to show you in a little bit why I need to install this. And then I launch a Jupyter Notebook. So I did some research previously on how to get data from Twitter. So here's one of the articles that I like. This article uses SNS script, and I'm just gonna copy and paste some code directly from this article. There's another tool called Twippy or Tweepy, but that tool has limitations and needs to use developer APIs, so I thought this is better. So I think I'm gonna create a function first so that I can get different tweets for different person using just a function. And I'm gonna return the data frame in the function. I'm gonna set some parameters. I think I'm gonna set the number of tweets first. I'm gonna call it n tweets. And then I'm gonna delete the username because I don't think I need to use the Twitter username. And then I want to use a parameter search term as a parameter in the function. And also the start date and end date. Just gonna organize it into another cell. Okay, I'm missing a column here. I'm gonna give this function some descriptions, get a data frame of tweets by search term, and I want to link the reference in my code so that people know I borrowed the code from somewhere else. And then let's just test it. I'm going to test this function with the search term happy with n tweets equals 10, and my start date is May 19th. And my start date is May 19th, and my end date is May 20th. And it looks pretty good. It actually returned 11 tweets, which means the number of tweets returned is actually n tweets plus 1, which is okay. Now we can get actual tweets for our analysis. In addition to getting the tweets with the search term Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, I'm also interested in the tweets that mentioning Camille Vasquez and Shannon Curry, since they are the superstars in the trial. So I thought I would like to get tweets mentioning them as well. I'm trying to get tweets for the past 2 days and with the limit of 10,001 tweet. I'm changing the search terms to each person's name, and for Shannon Curry, I am actually going to change the date to be a little longer since there are not many tweets mentioning Shannon Curry in the past 2 days. Now I'm trying to see the length of the data frames. Here is what the data looks like. We have the date time, we have the Twitter ID, and the text of the tweet. Since we have 4 data frames, I think it would be smart to start with just 1 data frame to take a look at how we should process the data. I'm just going to use the data frame DF so that I don't need to write so many words for my data processing steps. Now I am investigating one of the tweet. So let's think about it. What kind of data cleaning steps that we need for this tweet? The first thing is to make everything lowercase. The second is that we should remove the rows that are mentioning the other 3 people, probably so that the sentiment we know is more precisely towards this person we're looking at. And also we want to keep the rows that are mentioning the person of interest. And then finally, I think we should remove all the URLs because those are irrelevant for our text analysis. Okay, now we can work on each individual data cleaning steps. First, we want to make everything lowercase. Let's write df equals df.assign. I'm trying to use the .assign function here to create a new column text to overwrite the existing column text with everything lowercase. I use the .assign method here because I want to use pandas method chaining later. And when we check the first record, it looks pretty good. The second step is to remove the rows that are mentioning all the other 3 people. So here we can use .query method and filter out the text with a string that contains either the first name or the other either the first name or the last name of other 3 people. I separated the names by a vertical bar. And then we can do some quick checks to see if we get everything right. Okay, I'm just gonna try to check some individual cells. And then I want to check if any of the rows mentioning Johnny Depp. Okay, everything looks good. Similarly, I want to keep the rows that are mentioning Camille Vasquez. Again, we use string contains and Camille vertical bar Vasquez. The final data cleaning step is to remove all the URLs. I actually don't know how to do that, so I'm just gonna Google it. Just gonna Google remove HTTP URLs from string in Python. Okay, I'm just gonna copy and paste one of the answers here. Since we're using Python 3, we need to use parentheses with print. Okay, and I want to get a real tweet example to see if a tweet works here. Text string contains. Okay, I want to get a 37. Okay, that's not going to work. Right, we need to specify the column text. Okay, looks like this function actually works. Okay, I want to move the import up front so it's more organized. Now we can do another df.assign to create this new text column to override the existing text column with all the URLs removed. Okay, there's no rows containing HTTPS, so that is great. Next step, we could do some sentiment analysis. I'm thinking to use some Hugging Face pre-trained models. So again, I'm going to do some Googling on how to do that because I don't remember all the syntax. Okay, let's copy and paste the models. Now looking at the document, I noticed there is a pre-trained model trained on Twitter data. So I think we should probably use this model instead. So I'm going to change the model to this Twitter model. This model is actually trained on about 58 million tweets, so that'll be great for our analysis. We want to use the right index. Okay, looks like it's labeling our example tweet as label 2, which is positive. That sounds about right. Again, we would like to move all the imports into the beginning of the file to keep things organized. And we would like to apply this sentiment model to every tweet in the data frame, and we save the results in this new column called sentiment. Okay, this is the data looks like now. We have a new column called sentiment. Notice that each sentiment result has a label and a score. We would like to get them out as individual columns. So first we should get the sentiment label out. Again, we create a new column called sentiment label. Which is a lambda function working on the sentiment column and extract the label out of the cell. And similarly, we can extract the sentiment score using the same syntax. Okay, now in the data frame, we have sentiment label and then sentiment score. We should probably also recode the sentiment labels into negative and positive and neutral. So here I used a numpy.where function. Want the format to look a little better. So the logic is if the sentiment label equals label underscore 0, then the label should be negative. And if the sentiment label is label underscore 2, it is positive. Otherwise, it should be neutral. Okay, just checking the data briefly, it looks pretty good. Now we can do the same data processing steps for all of the 4 data frames. Briefly take a look at each of the data frame. We have the data frame for Camilla and for Johnny Depp. Amber, and then DF Shannon. Okay, they all look the same. Let's organize them into a df underscore dict. It's a dictionary with the keys as the names of the person, and the value is their corresponding data frames. Amber Heard, and then colon df Amber, and then Shannon Curry, df Shannon. Okay, now we can organize our data cleaning steps. I'm just copy and paste all the steps that we have done before. And I would like to use pandas method chaining to chain all the functions together. This way it looks a little more organized. Missing a parenthesis here. Okay, good. Now I have dot assign, dot query, and then dot assign. Okay, those are the 4 data cleaning steps we have down above. And the names of the other 3 people would be different for different data set. So we would like to organize those into a dictionary as well, with the keys again as a person's name and the value as the string we want to remove, or the rows containing the string we want to remove. Okay, for Johnny, we would have Amber and Camille Vasquez. And then for Amber, let's copy and paste. And then we need to add Johnny Depp. And then finally for Sharon, we have Amber Heard. Okay, looks good so far. And then similarly, we can use F string for the rows that mentioning individual names. Let's create a new dictionary called keep rows. And we would like to keep the rows that containing each person's first name or last name. It should be Amber Heard for Amber Heard, and then Shannon Curry for Shannon Curry. Okay, now since we have 4 data frames, we want to write a for loop. Since it's a dictionary, we can do for key and df in df_dict.items. And then we can loop through each of the dictionary. And change the value of df_key, which is the dictionary for, which is the data frame for each person. And we also would like to print how many rows for each data frame now we have. Okay, we still have a good amount of tweets to work with. And then we can do sentiment analysis for all of the 4 data frames. Again, we want to copy and paste some of the code that we did before. Again, I would like to use pandas method chaining to chain all the methods together. We have df.assign, .assign, and another .assign. So we created 3 new columns in the steps. Apply the pre-trained sentiment model. And then we would like to write a for loop to loop all the data together so we can apply the sentiment analysis for all 4 data frames. We would like to change the data frames in the data dictionary so that we can call them out later. And then there's one more step to recode the sentiment labels. Okay, so that's the sentiment analysis in a for loop. I'm fast forwarding this step because it's taking a while to run. Okay, now we can check data frames for each person. We can see for Johnny Depp, cinnamon label, we can count how many labels are neutral, how many are negative, and how many are positive. We probably want to only keep the cinnamon label for those with high cinnamon scores. So I'm gonna have a filter to only keep cinnamon score greater than 0.8. I think that will give us a little more accurate result. And then for Amber Heard, the numbers of positive tweets are really low for Amber Heard. And then we want to combine all those into one data frame, so I'm going to do a plot in a little bit. Okay, I guess axis equals 1 maybe. Okay, that works. Now we can add the other 2 data frames. Let's just copy and paste, and then we can change the names. We have Camille Vasquez and Shannon Curry. Oh, I missed the comma. Okay, perfect. This is the count data, so I give it a name DFC. And I would like to rename the columns. So we have Amber Heard, capitalize the names Camille Vasquez. Okay, now the data looks better. Now I would like to calculate the percentage for each person because the total number of tweets varies dramatically for them, so percentage makes more sense. So I'm calling this percentage table DFP. And then import hvplot.pandas. I want to use hvplot to plot this data frame. Again, we want to move the import to the beginning of the file. Oh, actually, I imported NumPy earlier. We need NumPy for this analysis. Yeah, dfp.hvplot.bar. This will give you a bar plot. And I want to transpose this data. And then rot equals 90, which means the rotation of the labels is 90 degrees, and I want to change the color. Okay, now we can compare the table with the plot we just created. You can see the number matches with the table, so everything looks correct to me. So it looks like there are more negative tweets mentioning Amber Heard, and there are more positive tweets mentioning Camille Vasquez. Okay, now I would like to try some other analysis. I wrote this text analysis blog post earlier. I'm just gonna copy and paste some code, and we're gonna do some Engram analysis and then some topic modeling. So first with the Engram analysis, I'm going to copy the NLTK code. We want a list of stop words. And then, okay, yeah, it should be text, not reviews. That's the name of the column we're interested in. Right, we want to look at the Camille Vasquez data. Camille. Okay, we can see the top 10 engrams for tweets mentioning Camille Vasquez. They all look positive, like positive tweets. Okay, now we can try some topic modeling. Again, just copy and paste code from my blog post and change the reviews to text. And I want to change the number of topics to 5 maybe, and showing me 5 words for each topic. So the 5 topics looks like the first one, topic 0 is people who have a crush on Camille Vasquez. Topic 1 is people love Camille Vasquez. Topic 2 is Camille Vasquez queen. 3 is want Camille Vasquez. 4 is Camille Vasquez tweet. So all seem very positive to me. From our simple analysis of 2 days of tweets, it looks like Camille Vasquez might be the actual winner of this trial. People really love her. Keep in mind that this is just a toy example. There are a lot of limitations to this analysis. For example, the data is not adequate or well sampled for any conclusions. Second, the pre-trained model does get a lot of the sentiment wrong. For example, it thinks badass is a negative sentiment. I don't have time to train the model further, but if anyone has time, it'll be interesting to label some tweets mentioning Johnny Depp and Amber Heard and train the model further based on the pre-trained model. It would also be super interesting to see how the sentiment for each person changed over time in the past month. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!